Shalom, shalom, beloved. This is Khulile. My name is Mtsetfwa, and I am here today to share with you what the Lord has done for me and the stages of life that I've been through. Briefly, I am married to a very humble man. His name is Khulile Mtsetfwa, and I'm married with 3 children. So the story goes like this. It is a story, but some people when I tell them about the story, it looks like as if it's a fiction, and this is not a fiction, but it is a true story. On this lovely day, I call it a lovely day because it was a Wednesday, and normally on Wednesdays like today, it's a day where I have my fasting, that I connect with the Lord. And this says something to you, to say that sometimes you'll be connecting with the Lord, but the Lord will have a purpose for your life. So I was traveling on the R21 and with my sister, in fact, and my sister got a tire puncture, and we called my husband. My husband came to assist us with the tire. Unfortunately, as we were changing the tire, then there were people that had motives. I call them people that have motives because I believe they had planned it on the day. And they came out of the field and with guns on their hands, and they demanded some valuables. And as a normal thing, when you are in shock, there's something that you can do. So in shock, we ran across the road, and that is the R21, just after the engine garages. They managed to hold my husband down as he was changing the tire. So as we crossed the road, I can say it's an unfortunate thing for the day, but it can be a fortunate thing because I'm here to tell you what I've been through. So the car came and the car hit me. I went up and I came down. I did not fall on the tarred road. Had I fell on the tarred road, I wouldn't be sitting with you today, but because God had a plan. So I fell, on that embankment. And the car didn't stop. It was a hit and run. So my sister was there trying to get some help. My husband on the other side did not even know what was going on because the guys needed some valuables from the car. As we were asking for help, the first ambulance came on the scene, and the ambulance came. They found that the situation or the condition was not conducive for them to actually, assist me. I am laughing because every time I talk about this thing, I always see the goodness of God in my life. Now, what they said to me on that day is that they could not assist because in their ambulance, they did not have any equipment to assist me. I had something that is called, according to the medical terms, ruptured bladder, ruptured vagina, dislocated hips. I had an open book pelvis. I had both my legs, tip and fib were shut down. And as they were looking at me, they could feel that to them in their naked eyes, they thought that it was the end of the road. But when God is in your story, impossibility is nothing. They left the scene, and a second ambulance came through the help of the people that stopped. When the second ambulance came, they tried to actually, induce me to be in a coma state, but I could not because of the condition that I was in. I lost a lot of blood. I was then taken to hospital. When I got to hospital, something dramatically happened there. I survived. And I survived not in my own doing, but I survived because God said it is not over until He says so. I'm trying to be brief with this such that you can be able to grasp all the things that I went through. I went into coma for 35 days. The reason for that, it was because of the injuries and the pains that I had, as I have narrated before. I stayed in coma, waking up in coma, and I went to a rehab center. When I woke up from coma, I had a colostomy bag, I had a catheter that I had to live with. The other thing was that I lost the feeling of my legs. So I could not walk. I was supposed to be in a wheelchair. I sat in that wheelchair for about 1 year, 6 months in that wheelchair. And that is why the story that I always narrate is say that the book says from wheelchair to high heels. Because I was in that wheelchair. People never thought that I would walk again. Even doctors never thought that I would walk again. Horror number 2 came that at the time after we went to reverse the colostomy bag while I was still in a wheelchair, they found that I had appendix. And when they did, remove the appendix, I went into a second coma again. And at that time, they were actually not sure whether I'll be able to wake up because they had to actually clean me. And the operation was just so big that the pains were not even bearable. That was horror number 2. Horror number 3, after I started walking again, there was an element that they needed to check whether I can be able to have kids again. So I went to see a gyne. In all this, I am going to see a gyne just to check whether I can be able to conceive another child. The gyne checked and found that I had a cyst. So he insisted that I needed to go and remove the cyst. And okay, fine, I obliged. I went and I removed the cyst. Unfortunately, what he did was not what he was supposed to do. And he perforated my large intestine. And now for the second time, I was subjected again to a colostomy bag, something that I don't even want to have anymore because I understand how it works. But in all this, I just need to say to someone at home, when you have faith and when you have hope in God, God can come into your situation. I had to go back to hospital again now to be operated on and fix the large intestine. And I woke up with this colostomy bag. Imagine I'm a young girl, I'm a young bride, and I have a husband next to me that I really needed to also take care of. You know, as a wife, you need to take care of your husband. But I need to say to you, today I can say, I thank God for the man that he blessed me with. Because in all this, he was there standing next to me. And this process went over. And the fourth time now, I had challenges with the legs. Remember, I did say that I had a problem with both the legs. Both the fib and tip were broken, but through God, they were able to fix them. But this right leg, because it was actually shattered, it was not growing very well. And then there was this one day, I went to see the doctor, and the doctor says to me, you know what, Kuls? We have a problem with this leg. We actually need to check it. And if this leg, it is not healing, and if this, abscess in this leg is not going to clear up, we have no option but to amputate the leg. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to allow this to happen. And this is where I would like you to concentrate on. I asked the doctor and I said, doctor, is it possible that you can give me 7 days? Let me go and speak to my God. Because he had promised me that he will never leave nor forsake me. And he said to me, okay, it is fine. But you see the stage, we cannot be able to pass the 7 days. And I went home. I started talking to my God. And I said, Lord, you had promised me that you will never leave me nor forsake me. You have promised me that you are Jehovah Rapha. You had promised me that you are a Jehovah who can do miracles beyond what we can imagine. And in fact, he showed me what I was supposed to do. Believe you me, this was between me and God. And he told me the things that I needed to do. Some of the things that he asked me to do are things that I'm doing even right now. He asked me to love unconditionally. He asked me to give. He asked me to help. He asked me to offer. He asked me to be there for those that are in need. And I said to God, yes, I'm going to do it. On the 6th day, I then went to the doctor. And as normal, when you go and see an orthopedic, you start from the x-rays. So I went to the x-rays and they checked the leg. And I had to go up to his rooms. As I've gone up to his rooms, one patient was coming out. Then I was the second one to come in. Before I could walk in, I heard him screaming. And I did not understand why he was screaming. And I walked in and he said to me, Khuls, by the way, you said you wanted to go and speak to your God. And I said, yes, I did. And he said to me, come, let me show you something. He said, before, the picture that was running, it was red, but now it is white. And therefore that means the abscess is cleared. So he said to me, you know what, Khuls? Never ever forget your God. Now that you have said that you are going to speak to your God, therefore go and serve your God without fail. And guess what? Doubt normally kicks in. I could not believe it at the time because I thought, is this true? And this is normally what happens in our life when we are praying for a breakthrough. And when we receive that breakthrough, we start questioning. And as I was going through this, I started screaming myself and I started crying. And the secretary came in and she wanted to know what was going on. And when we explained to her, she was shocked and she said to me, but why are you crying? Because you need to rejoice. And I said to her, it is because now I know that the God that I serve is a God of impossibilities. And hence that is why all the time I will say, when God is in your story, impossibility, it is nothing. So beloved at home, with this, I am saying to you, whatever that you are going through right now, just hold on. Hold on for 1 minute, because the God that you serve is a God that is there. Now remember, I had said to you that I went to see a gyne, and the gyne perforated my large intestine. And it was said that because of that incident, I will not give birth to a child again. But I'm here to tell you today that our God is a God that overrules, is a God that normally will do things that even ourselves does not even believe. But today, I have a child after this. I went to the doctor 2 years later, and the doctor said to me, Khuls, you are pregnant with a child. And guess what? Even then, they also said, you know what? You'll not be able to carry this child because my hip bone, it is being held by pins. My pelvic bone, there are screws that are holding my pelvic bone. This right leg has got screws that is protecting it, but I can still wear high heels. So you see that the God that we serve is a God that can do miracles. And then I just want to say to you at home, as an encouragement with this short message that I've given you today, is that hold on to God. When you trust God, when you believe God, when you pray, and when you declare over your life the good things that you yourself that you want, most of the time, pray to God and speak to God. You don't have to make noise to God, but you can speak to God as if you are speaking to a person that is close to you. God does listen. Let me tell you this. One of the things that God said to me on that day when I was speaking to him for this leg to heal, remember he said I should give. He said I should forgive. We had a case that we are supposed to handle because of the doctor that perforated my large intestine. And this is what happened. My surgeon on the other side, they were saying, you have a right to sue. And trust you me, there were so many figures and big figures that we were supposed to get. But God said to me, forgive the doctor. And I said to myself, but God, how can you say that? Because I've already built a mansion for myself. And God said, that I give you brings no tears. No tears to you, no tears to the other one. If you are going to sue this doctor is going to lose his job. The children will have tears. He will have tears. But where are those tears going to fall on? I am not saying that if a person has committed a wrong, that you are not supposed to handle it. But when God speaks to you about it, may I encourage you to listen to God. Do what God says you need to do. As I said, the doctors were saying to me, you have a right to sue. The doctors were saying to us as a family, you have a right to sue. Yes, of course, according to our naked eyes and according to the laws of the country, we had a right to sue. But God said no. Now we have to come back to the story that when God says, it is not over. He means it is not over. Therefore, you need to lean on them. So this is my encouragement to you to say that the God that we serve is a God that heals. The God that we serve is a God that provides. The God that we serve is a God that sticks to his word. And all that he has promised you, know that God will forever give it to you. Hi, my name is Kuz, my surname is Mtsetfwa, and I have been through the most.